Brady's gone number one for me. The key change, they do the
Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dimzik, powered by BetSperts.
Welcome to The Deep Dive, week 2, matriculating towards the finish line here, Andy. Gonna sweat a little as we break down these games live. Need the Bengals to get a win for futures purposes. Need the Cardinals and Raiders to stay under 51.5, which seemed like an absolute no-doubter about 20 minutes ago, but now all of a sudden is in jeopardy if this goes to overtime 23-23. With all that, it was a tremendously awesome weekend.
We start with the sour note.
We're due. What? Yeah, go ahead.
Our team total play was the Colts over.
Yeah. Didn't make it.
We'll get to them when we get to them, but the short version is Pittman may matter to that offense.
Yeah, I mean, let's hold off all takes till we get there. But yes, Pittman absolutely may matter. He's straw that stirs the drink, and or their only viable weapon in the passing game. The Trey Lance injury, probably the biggest news of the day. What would you say?
Yeah, that sucks. And you could tell right away. Like when I saw a still shot and I looked and it was similar to Gordon Hayward, where you just looked, you could see his ankle right away. Like, oh, that's clearly not the shape an ankle should be. Or, you could tell right away a bone or a ligament was messed up. You're like, that's the year. And again, it felt like maybe some lucky. It's probably more luck than redemption. Like they were fully willing to trade Jimmy G if they got the right offer.
Oh, sure,
shopping the shit out of him. So, but it worked out. You have a backup who started many games, including a Super Bowl. So, I think the Niners season is all a long way from lost, despite losing their starting quarterback. They look good, especially. It was a bad team. You played a bad team first off, but they looked good, especially on offense at times. So I'm going to go back and watch a little more of that. I didn't watch a ton of that game afterwards, just didn't have any action, didn't care. So, and I don't want to watch Jimmy G beat up on a bad defense. I was really way more interested in the Bengals game, and that was ugly. So should we start at the noon though?
Yeah, we should. Bengals look like they're about to try to choke this game amazingly to Cooper Rush. That would that's something. Let's start with the Baltimore Miami game. That was the first, and actually, unless you want to comment a little bit on Chiefs Chargers on Thursday.
Not really. I mean, Herbert deserved the win. He outplayed him.
What's your read on his outlook for week 3?
High. You have a super high. I didn't hear what you said, but I'll in a sec. A super high probability flip like they did on the long pick six. It wasn't a 10-yard pick six. The long pick six, the win probability flip on games or plays like that are so massive that they can lose you a game that you should have, could have, would have won. And that's kind of what we ended up with there.
Kind of insane also that the Chiefs, that Mahomes didn't end up with a turnover at all somehow. No idea how that was possible.
They just look stymied at times like that. The Chargers still did a lot of nice things on defense. Like they were able to, it's not like stop the Chiefs. I don't think anyone ever stops the Chiefs in their current iteration, but they did slow them. And I mean, kudos to them. I think they're going to, for sure they're going to meet again, but they could meet a couple more times yet this year. And I think at the end of it, if your takeaway as the Chiefs, as the Chargers is, if we play these guys in the playoffs, we don't have to be scared of them. We absolutely can hang with this team, and we can win. We can beat this team in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think the health of Herbert is the key question coming out of that game. Do you expect him to be available for week 3 when the Chargers take on the Jacksonville Jaguars?
I smoked 3 racks of ribs yesterday as like a manifesting it.
Oh, that was better. Nice of you.
I know it's an injury that, and you saw it today with Kamara, essentially the same injury. And they held him out. But Kamara is a running back who gets the piss beat out of him every time he touches the ball and takes a big hit. Different with a quarterback, and you can also game plan less deep drops, so the chances of him being hit is less frequent. But I don't know, probably 50-50 plays.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds about right to me. Interested to see if they even hang a number, if they wait for more information there. The Dolphins Ravens is the first in rotation. This was the game of the day by a lot. It was the game that I had the most at stake on. I was looking for the Dolphins 3.5 and Dolphins money line, and felt not great about that, to be perfectly honest, as we were looking at a 35-14 margin heading into the fourth quarter. However, the passing offense for the Miami Dolphins came alive in that quarter. I could do nothing but shake my head at the 70-yard run from Lamar that put them up 35-14. I didn't lose hope, though. Tyreek Hill comes through with two unbelievably solid plays to house it. And this was the thesis. The thesis was speed was going to kill these guys. And lo and behold, that was ultimately the deciding factor for this game, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. The Cowboys hit that field goal.
Yeah.
Wow. Shit, man.
50-yarders are automatic today in these games.
Amazing.
I did. Yeah. And really, too, that I seen some. I mean, it's what we want to do. Anyone who's, even if you're not like technically in the media, if you spend your life on gambling Twitter or football Twitter or fantasy Twitter, you're kind of you're cut from the same cloth. You're talking about things, looking for reactions, interacting with people. It's the same thing. And I've seen a couple people say, to an MVP ticket. And I thought about that for a second and really I went back and looked at his game logs. Yeah, he'd come off the injury in college and maybe he's different now, but he's never really had a game like this. He had a 4-touchdown game against Atlanta the other year, but that was a pretty rough defense. He's never had a 3-touchdown game. So a 6-touchdown game like this feels like it has to be the perfect storm of, hey, we have a bunch of our secondaries hurt, like a bunch of it. Like three of them are gone. We have a rookie playing out there. One's coming back from injury. And then also we're going to put you in a game state where you have to throw the entire second half. Like that's how Tua gets the MVP, I guess. He should get some consideration, I think, if he continues to play at a high level. But
I mean, I'll tell you what.
I think that's probably burning money.
You probably know where I'm going with this, but the entire middle class of the AFC that were sort of maybe this is a wild card team. A lot of those teams not as good as we thought. I'm looking squarely at the Broncos, the Raiders. I'm looking at the Bengals, even the Browns, obviously. The Patriots not as good as we thought. The Ravens not as good as we thought. The Steelers not in the mix. So literally, Bills, Chargers, Chiefs are your pretty high likelihood playoff teams. Oh, Colts. I didn't even mention Colts. Titans not in the mix. So, you have your three elite teams at the top of the AFC right now. And then
the winless Colts.
Why not the Dolphins in that fourth spot, right? Like you can conceivably see sort of middle of the season power rankings. You could have the Dolphins as the fourth best team in the AFC. Am I crazy?
Yeah, it's funny too, because you think of fourth best team, you think of a division winner. I don't think they win the division, obviously, but they will be better than your like you said, your AFC South champ. So it'll be a very, very tough team to invite into your home as a wild card team coming in that first weekend, especially if this offense is doing things like this and Tyreek Hill is running amok. And that was funny. I pointed that out too. I was like, God, how many yards does he have? And I pulled up the quick ESPN thing that just lists the three highest. So it's like the top quarterback, top running back, top receiver, and they didn't have him listed. I'm like, shit, he's not even number one right now. That's wild. He has 160 yards, and Waddle had more than him. He ended up with 190.
Amazing.
Waddle ended up with 171. Just gaudy numbers.
Just awesome numbers.
Yeah. This is and I really don't think this defense has played well yet. Like there's still more to maybe unlock with this defense. I don't know.
Can the Cardinals cover this spread with their fourth try from the goal line? Eighth try from the goal line.
Yeah.
The Cardinals going to punch their ticket there. Oh man, end this game. No, Dolphins Ravens I thought was lucky win for the Dolphins at the end of the day. But you break down the box score a little bit, and they were the better team, I thought. They had the 2 turnovers, which set them down a bit. They were the at the receiving end of some of the big plays, including the Lamar touchdown, the Bateman 75-yard pass. He's making these big touchdown passes, which is
that's the other part about that too. Is the Ravens Again, they're 1-1, but that offense seemed to click. I was a little worried. Like, I saw some things I didn't love last week, and it's like, man, it's the Jets. I have to see things I love when you play the Jets, man. And of course, Kyler scrambles in for a touchdown. What a piece of shit. I have him on my fantasy team, one of them. So good for me. Good Andy fantasy winning. But no, I was worried that against a tougher defense, we wouldn't see as much. And probably, honestly, the offense played even better. We saw some really nice things. We saw Lamar do some stuff we weren't expecting, maybe. So, yeah, both teams. I'm probably bumping both teams up a little, even though we had a team that had to lose that game. And the entire AFC North lost today.
Unbelievable.
Every single one of them.
And if the entire AFC South outside of the Jaguars, I guess we haven't seen the Titans play, but we're assuming they lose to the Bills tomorrow.
Yeah, they're 10-point dogs. I mean,
so we could have
so are the Falcons. And
actually, that's funny too, because last year the entire AFC lost or tied. So somebody had to win that game today, and I guess we learn it's the Jaguars. But let's keep moving down here while we wait for this 2-point conversion to be resolved.
Don't you just want just kick it? I mean, it's on the road. You don't want to risk this. You can get somebody hurt.
See, that's that if you are holding a Cardinals minus or plus 5.5, don't you just want this to end now? Miss the 2-point conversion? You don't want to see the Raiders with the ball in their hand and the chance to score 6 in overtime, do you?
No. Not even a little bit. So.
No, you want it to be over right now. I guess if you have Cardinals money line, that's a different story. Let's move on to the Jets upset of the Browns. This was another weird one where I think a fourth quarter score at one point was 30-17. They had a 13-point lead in the fourth quarter, could not hold off the pesky Jets. Joe Flacco with a 4-touchdown, 0 interception day, only got sacked a couple of times. It was a weird that the way that Browns team is rostered defensively, that they let the Jets back into the game. Garrett Wilson with the breakout performance as a rookie. He's got to be probably going to take some juice in the rookie of the year market.
It was the only guy who did anything really. Honestly, for a couple weeks now, the rookie of the year market has been odd. I'm gonna do a little bit of a roundup on that tomorrow, but it was one of those two where the game was well in hand, and we're gonna get to another one like that when we get to the Rams game. This game was well in hand, and then this, that, and the other thing happened. You let a squirrely team back in. You played a little prevent. You Chubb, probably to blame. Could have gone down. Gone down in bounds. You had another one where we had a touchdown. If you go down before the touchdown, you don't allow the Jets to do anything they did. The clock is just gone. So I don't want to blame coaching, because some of that is like in play. You can't. I guess you work on that situationally in practice and talk to people before the play about that, but that's tough. Those are so tough when you're out there on the battlefield on the gridiron. But the Browns absolutely pooped their pants there and should have won that game. And I was cheering for the Jets at one point just because I thought it was funny. I was cheering for the Falcons too, because I just think that's funny when a team just lets somebody in.
Oh, dude, they succeeded the attempt?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Continue to sweat the under there. That's unfortunate. Wow. All right. So the Commanders-Lions game was a bizarre one, 22-0 at halftime, which is, I don't think a lot of people expected that. I think people were expecting like a little bit of a competitive effort there. The Commanders roar back in the second half to help anyone who was on the over in that game. So high five, Commanders. Ultimately into the fourth quarter, touchdown plus lead, put away with the Amon-Ra St. Brown touchdown with 7 minutes to go. I guess he had a breakout day. Congratulations to him. I don't really know what to blame the slow start for the Commanders here, other than sort of sleeping on the success of last week, maybe.
I think maybe that was, I really didn't get that. I bet the over in that game, one of my favorite looks of the week. And I was really kind of mad because I had it the other way around, where the Commanders work out to a lead because this Detroit defense isn't all that good. We saw that for 3 quarters. Last week, or 4 quarters, honestly. And I thought we'd just see, Detroit just keeps on chugging, and Detroit does what Arizona did here, just scores a bunch of points late, or just keeps after it. And I don't believe in that Commanders defense all that much either. So I was very baffled at the first half effort from the Commandos and happy that they joined the party. That was a no doubt over once we got around to it. But yeah, that very, very odd situation in that first half. They just looked listless. And I don't know, Detroit took advantage.
Yeah. Did you see who found the score sheet? Aiden Hutchinson, three sack performance from the great Aiden Hutchinson.
2 tackles for loss.
2 tackles for loss as well. So great job by you, Aiden Hutchinson. I think that we'll get around to some of the other candidates, but what a way to kind of break in to the defensive rookie of the year race. As we move on, Colts, Jaguars. I did not have a fair read on how serious the Pittman injury was at all this week. Everything I read sounded like
they didn't even know where it came from, really.
Yeah, it sounded like it came out of a Wednesday practice or something like that, or it was an issue on Wednesday at practice, and they held him out from then forward, and it never got better. And for whatever it's worth, the team is extremely deficient in terms of having anyone else in the playmaking department in the passing game. The number one targeted player in this one was Ashton Doolin. He was targeted 7 times, ended up with 5 for 79 for the Colts. Matt Ryan got picked 3 times. He got sacked 5 times. So you might be thinking, was he up against, just an all-time great defensive unit? No, it was the Jaguars. Josh Allen had a couple of nice plays for the Jaguars from a pass rushing standpoint. Trayvon Walker didn't really do much, in contrast to the great Aiden Hutchinson. But good for the Jags getting out to a lead and kind of putting it away comfortably. Not really sure if it was, I guess it was their defense more so than their offense putting this away, because they didn't really, the offense didn't really do anything in the second half. No notable, kind of put away effort from the running back room. Lawrence efficient today, 25 of 30. Did not get picked, did not get sacked. That to me is 5-alarm fire about the Colts defense under Gus Bradley.
Yeah, Colts look bad on both sides of the ball. Matt Ryan made some bad decisions. Matt Ryan didn't have Pittman. I hate to dog on him too hard. Like, you lose your number one target, and it not only just your number one target. It's not like a team, we lost Devin Duvernay today. No, you lost Michael Pittman, who's, super high-end receiver. It just looked like the game plan wasn't ready to be put together without him in it, because the game plan just sucked altogether. Some of the sequencing sucked, and Ryan made bad decisions, and the defense looked kind of bad. So maybe the Colts just aren't that good. I was going to make a joke about, I almost had a tweet fired out, like, should they trade for Jimmy G? Which that would have aged funny, because that was
well, I can definitely tell you that the defense is a huge issue, right? Like, we had some questions about them in the preseason, and without Shaq Darius Leonard even available, and Gus Bradley doing his thing coordinating, which has been solved now for a while. That's a bad unit. It's bad.
missing your best player in offense and defense, usually a recipe for disaster, and that's what we got today. They didn't fucking score. They lost by 24 to a team they were favored over. So,
yep.
I don't know. The Colts don't make sense to me ever early in the season. I'm sure we'll be here 10 weeks from now making a case like, man, the Colts are a sneaky wild card team.
Well, we're going to they have some tough tests coming up, and the Jaguars needed this win big time, by the way. Like, we talked about how tough their early season schedule gets the next couple of weeks. They get, they draw the Chargers, obviously, although, it looks like we're going to see a 7 there. So they must be thinking it's likelier than 50-50 that Justin Herbert plays, because that wouldn't be up and 7 if it wasn't. The moving down the card, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, hard fought win against the Saints. I was against some smart people on this one. I ended up with a bad bet, even though it closed 3. It was, you could have laid 3 with plus 105. That was a way better bet than the one I actually made on the Buccaneers. I misread.
Yeah, after you and I talked about it in the
injury
DMs
news there.
Yeah, you and I talked about it in the DMs, and I looked at it, and I looked at the matchups, and I just said, like, I think I'm going to take the 3 here. And of course, usually when we get a bad number, it seems it either loses by a trillion or we win one. So yeah, and I know people who had Saints plus 3.5 in the summer. Some people tried to middle that. Almost there was a chance at the end for that to land on 3.
Yeah,
there was a probability for that. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that game.
I can
such a long list of people missing on both sides.
I'll exhale some of my thoughts. Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense they are those guys. They are fucking awesome. We were somewhat joking tongue in cheek that who cares how many points the Buccaneers offense scores in this game? They're going to hold the Saints to like 3 or 10, and it was 3 for a while and then 10 in garbage time. Buccaneers scored a touchdown in this game. So the difference in covering one way or the other was the Buccaneers defensive touchdown. That unit is healthy and amazing and is still not being priced like they ought, like the 85 Bears, even though, they're the current iteration of that, complete of a defense as far as I can tell you. The Buccaneers offense was horrifically poor in this, although they had some very, very bad luck in the first half. I thought going into halftime 3-0 Saints was not a clear picture of what was going on in that game. I didn't think. Brady with a bad fumble when they were driving, a 4th down that didn't get converted by Fat Lenny. So it could have been a little bit more of a runaway from them, I thought. Jameis Winston obviously dealing with a broken back. We were making a joke about bacchiotomies in the last podcast. He sounds like he needs one. He's got 4 broken vertebrae.
The weirdest part about that report was they said he can't make it worse by playing. Like, that just seems like a falsehood. Like, yes, you could always make something worse by playing full contact professional football if it's an injury. But
Matthew Link makes a
defense was nasty
criticism. 85 Bears ? I'm saying, like, the distance between them and the next best defense in today's NFL feels like it's that much of a standout. That's kind of my comp, right? Not that you would really hold them up historically.
I doubled down a little at half on Tampa.
Okay.
Because I saw the same thing and just said, like, the offense, because I thought, like, how much does the offense have to score in the second half to cover this or to even just win this game outright? I'm like, 10 maybe, 7 might cover. They might not let the Saints score again. And really, like, the scoring that the Saints did was kind of in low win probability territory anyway, after Tampa ended up housing one from the defense. So I doubled down on Tampa, and it didn't feel good to start with. It was a little bit of a slow start to the second half as well, but that defense it puts people in their place. And I know we were a little lower on Tampa in the preseason, maybe higher on the Saints as far as division, but just like we always talk about, you got to be ready to flip that switch. And if this offense gets healthy and Brady's fine and the receivers start catching stuff,
which seems like it's going to happen at some point.
This is the best team in the NFL.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, the NFC.
With margin, right? If the offense is even 80% of what it was since Brady's been in Tampa, like if you kind of take the average of his time there and give us like the 80th percentile later this season, then no one in the NFC is beating this team besides maybe the Rams on the right day. Yeah. Panthers Giants is the next one up, and I don't have anything to say about that game. Holy crap. That's a game that happened. Jesus Christ. 1916.
And truly, I don't think the Giants
draw a single conclusion from that game.
Giants probably didn't deserve to win that game.
I don't think they did either.
It was an ugly second half.
But did the Panthers?
No, that one probably deserved an overtime tie, but McCaffrey was good. McCaffrey's still healthy. Daniel Jones is not good. Saquon does just enough. Mayfield had a pretty rough day as well. So I had to find Saquon's receiving here.
He only had like
3 for 16.
20-ish,
yeah, so 21 for 72. He was okay. McCaffrey had a nice day, but he's always going to. And then it was just I felt like a lot of missed third downs. Oh my God. Carolina was 2 of 12 on third down. and that's New York was 6 of 18.
4th and 1 from the Vegas 37. Do the Cardinals attempt a long field goal, or do they punt, or do they go for it?
I'd kick the field goal.
Yeah, I think you have to.
I mean, in overtime.
6 minutes left.
But yeah, I don't have much to say about that. We'll dig into these teams a little more when we get to the full breakdown. The Baker Mayfield experiment is 0-2 right now. The Giants are a pretty ugly 2-0. But
are the Panthers a team you would bet on in coming weeks if they continue to trend in the win-loss department as losers, but have something bubbling? I guess
against the right defenses.
Well, this should have been that defense, right? Like scoring 16 points against the Giants defense, that's bad. The Giants defense didn't have a pass rusher rostered today. Like they had the fact that you only scored 16 against this team is a very, very strong indictment of the McAdoo offense and Baker Mayfield where he is with this offense at this time. Yeah, that's Panthers continue to be a team I'm not going to watch or bet on.
Well, your top. I mean, essentially,
they got bet today, big time. By the way, like they flipped favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, you saw that.
Didn't partake in that game.
Mm-mm. Okay. The Patriots were a very, very aggressively bet team all week long. End up closing a flat 3-point favorite, and they win by 3 after conceding some garbage time points. I similarly feel like, they went for it on 4th down and didn't get it. Oh, so now a Raiders field goal ices this. We do not need to sweat. 49 points, baby. 49 points, baby. Okay. All right.
Hollywood Brown dropped the ball. Weird. What game are you on right now?
Patriots Steelers. The Steelers defense spent a million plays on the field last week and eventually ran out of gas in the second half of this one this week. Patriots offense, I didn't think looked all that much better.
Both
getting 17
still looked bad.
Oof, yuck.
The one I played the ugly under, and
fuck, man, we are going through a lot of bad football teams, and this is super early in the season. Like there's a lot of bad offenses.
This is one too where I bet and I didn't watch a second of it because I don't want to watch these. I hate watching it under. I bet anyway, and then also I didn't want to watch these offenses. These are going to continue to be fades. They're going to continue to be under teams depending on who they play, depending on matchups. It was just the perfect matchup for. I said I don't think either team gets to 20, and that's what we landed on. And said that we got right to the spread. I'm like, what does Pittsburgh need? And Pittsburgh, obviously, I didn't get the teaser home because the Bengals bungled, but the Pittsburgh teaser, I said, if you give me 8 points, what do the Pittsburgh have to get to 10? Do they need to score? I joke, but Pittsburgh, they come up late for me, but I was fine with them not coming up late. The under was the play.
Yep.
I was happy with, and I don't think we're going to see much out of either of these teams as far as being a force into the playoffs. You just can't win. You can't win games against great teams, and you're not going to win games in the playoffs if you don't have an offense at all.
That's right. And Steelers got a quick turnaround. They go out Thursday Night Football this week against the Brownies. We'll get to that spread in a moment, which is up and taking bets. That was it for the morning games. The afternoon games in rotation order started with the Falcons Rams, where you had a rocking chair over, but it actually wasn't that easy. It was a little bit of some sweat. Of interest to me in this game, the Falcons continue to be plucky. They didn't quit. Even down 31-10, they fought their way back into this. They got the benefit of a very untimely fumble from Cooper Kupp. They got a blocked punt touchdown too, right? Blocked punt touchdown. Cooper Kupp fumbled to set them up for potentially the game-winning drive. And Jalen Ramsey makes the play of the early part of the season for the Rams defense.
You know what? That was a well-thrown ball.
It was a well-thrown.
He went over the top and plucked it. That's
really,
a touchdown
really,
against
really
a lot of cornerbacks.
It was a really, really good play by Ramsey. And I think ultimately, no tears shed for anyone who laid the price on the Rams. I guess you should probably have gotten the cover, but Falcons are dangerous. Two weeks in a row that they have covered and not won by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it took a late
2-0 ATS, 0-2.
I know it took a
SU.
late turnover to get it going, but they shouldn't have been that close to begin with. You need to keep your foot on the pedal defensively with this sort of team. You can't let up on them defensively because they can move the ball. So, yep, plucky is a good word for it. What's next? I don't have the rotation up at all.
Seahawks Niners. The aforementioned
Already
Trey Lance
talked about the
broken
injury,
ankle now ushers in the Jimmy G era part 2 in San Francisco. If you wrote a scathing hot take about how stupid the Niners were for keeping Jimmy G on the roster, you can now issue your apologies, and we will get those letters and emails directed to the appropriate personnel. Niners did it with defense. Seattle's 7 points in this game came from a blocked kick return. I don't know if you saw that. All of sort of the visionary stuff of the Shane Waldron offense that existed on Monday Night Football was completely absent in this game. They went back to the old way of Carroll trying to integrate his pick in Kenneth Walker into the running attack. That seemed to take a little bit of the steam off of what Penny was giving you. Like
I almost bet that. So I regret it now because I left a winner off the card, but I almost bet the Niners on the Kenneth Walker news, which is hilarious.
I thought the same thing.
I said
thought
the
same thing.
Oh my God, they're gonna just like shoehorn this kid in for no reason. Again, they played a bad team last week, but they looked squirrely at times. Like they're going to do something stupid, and the offense is going to look worse. Yeah. I didn't think it would look this bad. I never could have fathomed it would look this bad. It's a good defense, so maybe that was a possibility. I think the Raiders coughed the ball up. I think they got it back.
Well, that's okay. That's good. That
Scrum.
No one, as long as it's not returned for a touchdown, I don't care what happens right now.
Yeah.
All right. In fact, some of the people in the chat who I like have Cardinals money line tickets, so hopefully the Cardinals recover this in the scrum and kick the game-winning field goal here in a moment. No other real thoughts about where the Niners go from here. The Niners have a couple of road games, a couple of easy games. Their schedule in general is not very hard. Jimmy G, obviously, like it looked like the Niners players were happy to see him back out there. Complicates sort of the long-term issues with Trey Lance and the investment they made in him. I mean, if he takes this team now and they succeed this year or exceed expectations with him now at the helm, I mean, you've royally complicated the transition of power in San Francisco. And I mean, we didn't see anything. We learned nothing. We've learned nothing, Andy. Yeah. We've learned the one thing we were the most excited to learn about this year was Trey Lance. We've learned
that was the most disappointing thing, was like just trying to I want to figure out what Trey Lance is, and do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Try again next year. What's that leave us with?
There was one more game in the afternoon. Two more, actually. The first is Cincinnati, Dallas. Okay. The knee-jerk observation, the O-line for Bengals is still a problem. Still rust with Joe Burrow and that crew. The fact that they had such a laborious time on that final game tying drive, 17-17, and then couldn't get anything going to try to get a game-winning kick. And then the defense yielding enough yardage to get a 50-yard attempt in there for the Cowboys as time expired. I mean, all of it felt like two things to me. One, an indictment on the Zach Taylor coaching staff, not really having a more vision for how to run this offense until the going gets tough. And two, a lot of the things that broke their way last year seem to be breaking against them this year. And it's going to give a lot of people who, believe in things like Super Bowl hangover, some fodder.
So the chat kind of spoiled the good surprise, but Arizona housed it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
On a pick six?
They've been trying to give the ball away. Woofty.
Good God Almighty. Plays under
Fumbled,
review.
yeah,
Is there any
recovery.
chance? Is there who fumbled?
The Raiders.
No, yeah, obviously.
I did. I wasn't watching. I looked up and I seen him running it back. Under review though. Maybe
he was down.
No, he was probably not down.
I'm not watching. So
the recovery. Oh, okay. No. All right. We're gonna watch this.
Okay. Well, that would be something.
Renfro was not down.
It's not gonna put a damper on my day. Ultimately,
no, nobody's gonna break my stride. Nobody's gonna.
No, Patriots, Bucks, and Dolphins all came through for me in somewhat lucky ways. So I'm just gonna. It is what it is. Bengals losing sucked, obviously, for a lot of reasons. Broncos winning was weird. 16-9 final score there against the Texans. The defense really didn't get much pressure on Mills, but
one decent kind of drive a general ugly at the game. End.
Yeah. I don't know, man. This Denver team, again, the in general, the offensive ceiling has to be downgraded significantly with Hackett in charge there. Nothing has looked easy at all for that offense. I think I underestimated the defense a little bit potentially for the Broncos. I kind of poo-pooed that was a clear, sure thing, top 10 defense, and especially after losing Justin Simmons, I thought there was a chance the Broncos defense was going to be a bet against, but obviously that one sailed under after it got bet up. So interesting. There wasn't a lot of signal in the market moves this last week. I think pretty much everything was injury based that I saw in general.
As far as mostly informational.
I don't think we can really take very many takeaways from some of these games in terms of major adjustments we need to make to any of these teams. What say you? Is there one adjustment you would make out of all these games?
I still might move Denver down a little more. Like they had too many offensive weapons and a healthy Russ in a better situation. Supposedly, turns out maybe it's not. That I probably had them too high to start the season. Not that I've been betting on them, but I think I have to, like you said, with the coaching stuff, I have to downgrade the offense, maybe the whole team. Yeah. Gross.
52 points on a 51.5 total in overtime.
Needed 2 touchdowns, 2 2-point conversions, a lot of scrambling around, but such is life. That's betting football. And we'll because we talked about that game plenty, and we only have about 20 minutes for a kickoff. Should we dig into the lines? We didn't really touch much on Monday night. We talked a little bit on the last Sunday. We bet the Eagles Vikings over. It's moved up and down. Boy, there's a fist fight between like 50 and 52 on that. So 2-sided money coming in on that total. And then a little bit of Eagles money, which I agree with. I think Minnesota's great on offense, but that secondary didn't get a proper test with Hall of Fame quarterback throwing to a bunch of duds last week.
Yeah.
And they still got beat with a drop. I mean, it's going to be a tough time for Minnesota wrangling AJ Brown and honestly the rest of that offense. So I think Philly's probably the right side, but I'm already betting on Philly to score a grip here with the over 49. And then I put a small bet on Buffalo.
Okay.
Just
what
with
number?
The 10, just with the secondary, the pieces in the secondary missing. Again, they're one of these teams, we've talked about this numerous times. They're a team that kind of puts the foot to the pedal. Doesn't matter what the score is. They're going to continue to try scoring on offense. Their defense is, we gave it a little downgrade off the highs of the last couple of years, but it's still a high-end defense. Like I don't have this at 8 on a neutral right now.
Yeah, I think there's
going to come in with those pieces out.
Yeah, I think there may be a little bit of kind of see if we can win this one ugly. Otherwise, I'm with you. Buffalo Bills 10 points better at home opener, extra rest, all those signs point to Bills or pass. Total is a little high. 47.5 is bettable to the under, in my opinion. But again, the Bills don't really take their foot off the gas, and so if they're clicking, if they're having a good day, then
I think if you like an under,
that's going to stop.
If you really do want to bet that under, maybe it's a Tennessee team total under. Which
that sounds really.
There's not a lot of room on that, but it's something to look at. So
yep, I generally agree with those two takes. Eagles are pass, Bills are pass, under on the Titans, over on the Eagles.
Browns Steelers Thursday night, 3.5-point favorites at home. Your Jacoby Brissett led Cleveland Browns should be 2-0 at this point, which is
a lot to ask. That Steelers
quick
defense
turnaround off that ugly loss.
And Steelers just in general, the defense is getting driven into the ground by how much time they're spending on the field. They were winning the time of possession here. They were Steelers were winning the time of possession battle in the first half, ultimately lost it in the game as the Patriots had the ball a lot in the second half of that game. I think that Steelers defense is going to be pretty gassed, and the Browns could win an ugly one. I think, if this hits a flat 3, I'm probably betting Browns. But right now, no action for me with the current opener of 3.5 and 40 is the total. No, I don't think nobody's running bet the Steelers though. This is going to stay 3.5 all week, right?
Yeah, I don't know if there's just going to be any action on this goddamn game. I don't know who's running to bet the Browns off that loss, laying the hook at home, and I can't bet the Steelers because I don't see how they score points. So, if the Steelers defense weren't so mashed at this point after 2 straight weeks of really having to do a lot to not get that much of result, I'd look at an under, but this total's probably right too. Passing on the Thursday game, you know what I'll do? I'll bet the second half.
I like that. I will as well. Hopefully we have an ugly game and we can get like a Browns team total over in the second half as the Steelers defense just falls into pieces.
Ravens Pats
in New England. New England finally going home after first 2 weeks on the road. The Patriots are not a good enough offense to take advantage of what the Ravens defense struggles with, which is speed. The Ravens probably better than the probably better offensively than the market is currently rating them. I think you can guess just based on what we saw today. Is that fair?
Yeah.
So the Ravens are 2.5 right now at Penny. You can get you can get 3 at plus 105 at some spots right now. I think this is probably Ravens or pass. Do you need the hook here, or do you think the Ravens can win in style?
3. I can get 3 plus 100. I'd play that. I'm not going to, but if I had to bet it, that's what I would take. I agree that Baltimore's offense was probably a little underrated. They didn't have to do a ton versus the Jets. I don't know really what the game plan was in the second half because of the game state, and you saw a really fun offense at times. They did some things they didn't roll out there in week 1. So yeah, Ravens, it's a road game, but it feels like a good matchup for them offensively. And if they get some secondary pieces back, that'll be awful helpful. Although the Patriots not known for their high-end wide receiver room either, so not a team that can take advantage of that. Probably pass, and this total looks pretty good.
I can't believe that. I'm watching the replay now. That end of that Raiders game. Good fucking God. Wow, what a way for that to break. Okay. The Bills look ahead was 4. It's still 4 after the Dolphins did that today, and we haven't seen what the Bills have done, obviously, because they're playing Monday Night Football. That total is sitting at 51. That's going to be your over smash of the week as long as the Bills don't, look sloppy and sluggish tomorrow night offensively, I would say. 51 almost certainly closes above. Am I crazy?
No, I think I could see that bet up to like 53 and a half. If you like that, I'd bet it now.
Yeah, I'm not going to take part in that.
The risk you're taking is Stephon Diggs gets hurt. Like
don't speak that into existence.
Or Miami, it turns into a bit of a storm through Miami come next Sunday. So if you like it, I'd grab it now. If you like the under, I think you can probably wait.
Bengals Jets is Bengals on the road minus 4.5. Total sitting at 43. Ay. What a start for the season for the Cincinnati Bengals. They get to take on Joe Flacco at home. I think that's a cheap price at 4.5, but I'm starting to accumulate a decent position in Bengals doing something this season and not feeling great about it after what Zach Taylor did today.
Yeah, I bet Bengals to win the division heading into the late games. Everybody else in their division had lost, and they were a 7.5 point favorite. Feeling pretty
Usually
good.
That's a good sign.
was not to be. So pass. I can't trust this offense right now. This offense is just tripping over their own dicks. Like it's not.
Of dick tripping.
I don't want to take away. I don't want to take away from the Dallas front seven. Like they had a nice pass rush, and it's a good matchup for that pass rush because the offensive line is still not great. But that's not something I'm super worried about from the Jets. But Flacco's pulling with a Fitz magic on us, where it's like shit. He doesn't suck so bad right now, and he's finding some guys. This rookie's okay, and yes, it is the Jets front seven is much less of a test, but I'm not willing to lay this many points on the road right now with a team. I'd be in my own head, like how good you were last year, and this is how this season starts. So I need to see something first. I could bet this team at halftime if I get something out of the first half. Other than that, I'm passing on this. The total is probably right.
Yeah, same. I'm probably gonna end up betting the Bengals at some point. I don't think 4.5, 5.5. If that bounces around, that's not going to mean not going to.
If they win the game today by like a touchdown, it's a 6.
It's a 6 or 7. Yeah, I mean, would you rate the Jets any differently than the Cowboys?
I have to upgrade the Jets offense a little
over the Cowboys in Cooper.
No. But the Jets.
Oh, after today, you're upgrading the Jets.
They moved the ball a little, I wasn't so high on Brees. I was not super high on the rookie wide receiver either. So
a game,
not a big upgrade, but they're getting a little upgrade. Still, it shouldn't. You're right. I don't trust the Bengals enough to take a number I know I should.
Okay, so a game we don't need to comment much on. Saints are taking on the Panthers. The Saints got a fraudulent win against the Falcons, got their burns beat in by the Bucks, and they go on the road against the Panthers, their third divisional opponent, as 2.5-point favorites. No, thank you. Need to hear some positive information about Jameis Winston's injury, and need to see him play a clean game, and really kind of find some chemistry with his guys before I do anything Saints positive. And the Panthers are, a clear pass right now in every sense of the word. Do you agree?
Yeah.
What do you make of this Lions-Vikings game, Andy? Tough to make too much of it because we haven't seen the Vikings play this week, but
yeah, the
7.5-point favorites against the Roar.
Is it just a total that's too low again?
I think so.
Another indoor game,
51.
A secondary that Minnesota should probably feast on, a secondary that Detroit should probably feast on. Should I take another? Should I sit on 2 Minnesota overs? Before we can see him play. That's where I'm not doing this. And all of a sudden, Justin Jefferson hits a turf toe in the first quarter, and I lose 2 bets right away. So sitting on it, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this bet up, and I wouldn't be surprised to see some Detroit money if Minnesota loses this game.
Oh yeah, surely. No, if you want 7.5, you probably have to bet it now, right? If you want 7.5, you probably have to bet it now.
Yeah,
because this is one of those where this is one directional, right? If the Vikings are alive and get a win against the Eagles, then it's still going to be 7.5. I don't think it's going up. But if the Vikings don't look great, then this does come down. And so I think if you want to bet the Lions, you got to do it before this game.
That's plus, fair. Yep.
Plus the Justin Jefferson turf toe only helps you.
Yeah, there's the odds of a Lion getting injured Monday isn't great.
You know what the odds? What are the odds of Pat Mahomes and Kansas City Chiefs going into Indianapolis and winning by more than a touchdown? Because they're a 6.5-point favorite against a Colts team that we know one thing about, and that's that they have Gus Bradley as their defensive coordinator, running a scheme that Pat Mahomes should be able to score about 49 points against.
I don't get why this is so low.
I don't either.
The way the Chargers matched up against this offense is very different than the way the Colts will.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the Colts secondary right now. I don't believe they have, unless Derwin James was traded in the last 3 days. Along with, I mean, we talked about that in the Chargers episode when we did the preseason. We said the Chargers have they might have 4 number 1 corners if everyone's healthy. Like they have a lot of 4 number 1 secondary pieces. Oh man, am I betting the Chiefs as a big road favorite?
I think so.
I think I am. This is my first bet of the night.
So this is a big adjustment from the look ahead, right? If I remember correctly, the look ahead was like a 3-ish. It was -3, 3.5. We'll say 3.5. It was 3.5. So 3.5 to 6.5 is a non-trivial adjustment up. I can live with that.
Yeah.
Chiefs against the Gus Bradley defense. Even if they're losing in the second half, I'm not sweating a -6.5.
What's your update on Leonard? Do we think he plays?
No. Do you have any sense that he's even close? I don't think he's
I was going to say it still feels like multiple weeks yet.
Is he IR'd? It might be a forced 4.
I don't remember that.
You don't think he's IR'd?
You know how hard it was to keep up on injuries this week?
Impossible.
It's not supposed to be this
so many.
I mean, I could have hired a full-time assistant just to track the New Orleans game.
That was absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Chiefs -6.5. It's a bet.
I mean, that's going to 7. There's the good news that may come is going to be like Pittman looks good in practice.
I think Pittman plays. I'm betting this with the thought that Pittman plays.
Pierce probably no, so they're still limited. Yeah, no, Leonard is not on the IR. Man, I mean,
so yeah, -6.5. That's a bet. I'm in. I have one.
Yeah, the Colts. We may have some real serious soul searching to come up with how low the Colts really need to be adjusted down before too long.
Fair enough. Eagles,
Raiders,
we haven't seen play. Eagles. I was on Eagles Commanders. Eagles 4.5-point favorites on the road heading to Washington. Kind of want to see them play. No interest in getting into that game yet. Although the Commies offense looked good, but that was a bad secondary. They should have looked good for longer than that. They're going to have chunks of the game where they're not good. Chunks of the game where they're massively underperforming how they should based on the matchup. They're going to be in trouble in a division where they could probably compete for the second spot. And here we are looking at a team that just didn't play the first half of the football game. So I don't know. Philly, this might get better. If Philly beats the snot out of Minnesota, I still don't think it gets like 7, but you can see this adjust up to 5.5.
Yeah, Minnesota gets a win and this reopens 3 tomorrow. I'm betting it for sure.
That's a nice look. Yeah, put a pin in that. If Minnesota squeezes one out, geez, don't say that, Andy.
Wentz against his old team, but not in Philly.
Yeah, at home and Raljon.
At Raljon. We got a revenge alert, Andy. Lovie Smith takes his Houston Texans to the Chicago Bears, Soldier Field. He is a 3-point dog. The total is 38. It has taken no time this season between injuries and just in general,
38.
like losing confidence in some teams and some coaches to really just see some bad games. And this is one of them with a bullet. Texans probably live as 3-point dogs, but you're not going to see me go run and make a bet on this game.
Aren't you kind of worried about Lovie Smith in a game like this?
Absolutely.
Low total, 3-point.
Oh, yeah.
Like this is Big Ten football. This is where he thrives. it's up in America's heartland, up at Soldiers Field. 38. Oh my God. You couldn't.
Yikes.
I wouldn't bet your money on it over.
No. Jags take on the Chargers. That is a surprisingly low total of 48. The Chargers right now is favored by 7. If Justin Herbert is a go, that should be a 51-point total, not a 48.
I was going to say Chargers team total over.
These two teams played each other last year. You remember? I don't remember.
Is that a trick?
No, I just don't know. I don't remember if we have a frame of reference for seeing Lawrence versus Herbert.
Yeah, and Minnesota over's already getting hit.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, kudos.
Okay. I think
that
that's
makes
right.
sense.
I think that what was your guess of why that closes? 53?
Yeah.
It sounds right to me.
I think it goes past that and catches low resistance, maybe 53.5, and then gets bet back down.
Yeah. No, we have not seen Lawrence take on Herbert just yet.
You really have to wait for Herbert news if you want to bet this. If you get Herbert news early, let us know.
Yeah.
Give you a free bet.
Packers Bucks totals 45.
That's high.
Shouldn't that be like 41?
Yeah. I'm gonna bet that under right now. Like,
I think that's
I would. 41's low, but like 42.5.
Right. I mean, the Buccaneers could get some pieces back.
They will.
It's not going to be Godwin's a couple weeks off. Yeah. I don't know what the hell is going on with Julio Jones. But if they roll out exactly the same offense they had today against the Green Bay Packers defense, then their ceiling is like 20. And then the Packers offense against this Tampa Bay defense is going to be a thing of beauty. I mean, the Packers team total under with a fucking bullet this week. Yeah, under 45 is a bet.
Yeah,
I like that.
That is a bet. Under 45. Second bet of the week.
Yeah, that's a good one. Oh, it's 44.5. Who did that? All right.
They're not taking that much. No. I think BetOnline still has a 45.
Falcons
they take just as much as Bookmaker at this point in the week.
I know. That's
more.
Crazy.
Actually, you know what? BetOnline takes more than Bookmaker.
In that game, especially because it's not up at Bookmaker, right?
Yeah, that is fair. That's a very fair point by you. Atlanta, Seattle, pass.
Yeah.
Actually, You know what?
Easy
Atlanta's
pass.
Straight up. If you want to bet that game, Atlanta's a better team.
Actually, I'm going to try to talk you out of that on Wednesday. This is a bad travel spot for them.
It's not. Yeah, it's not a great spot for them
actually,
to go on the road. But
for the Deep Dive Discord, here's a challenge. I will be in there every day this week reading the NFL chat in the Deep Dive Discord. Whoever finds information about Atlanta's travel from LA.
Yeah, I looked.
Are they
for
going
like 20
from LA
already.
to Atlanta and back to Seattle, or are they staying on the West Coast? If you can find me that information, you get a best friend point from yours truly. Because if they're staying west, then then
we're betting them.
Then we're betting them 100%. Yes, yeah. Everybody came out of that game healthy. I like Mariota's chemistry with London. That's starting to develop into something meaningful. Yeah.
Also, you got to watch out too, and like if they just decide to pull the plug in Mariota, like as losses pile up, there could just be a week like, hey, it's Ritter week, and
if that happens, then then all bets are off. But at least
that's a good point by Papa Calls. I'm gonna go check out some of the Atlanta beat reporters.
Yeah,
but I haven't seen anything. I did search some NFL reporters. I didn't see anything. Some of the people that were reporting on the Atlanta game today, I didn't have any news out of that. So I'll dig around some more tonight. Niners Broncos.
Yeah, boy, did this game look different in the preseason compared to what we are staring at now. This is Sunday Night Football?
Yeah.
Oh boy, Jimmy G.
Do you have these two teams equal? But I know it's Jimmy G, and I know but it's not like he's some backup they signed off the street preseason, didn't get a lot of snaps in camp. He didn't get a lot of snaps in camp, but he's played with this offense before.
I got to rewatch his tape today.
New.
What did you think of how he looked today?
He was fine against a shitty team.
Yeah. This is Niners or pass probably, right?
How do you feel about the Niners? Broncos, how do you feel about the Niners front five?
They're incredible, but they lack one thing, and that is the ability to finish Russell Wilson off.
Okay.
They just have never been able to do it.
Only Ciara. How do you feel about their offensive line? That would be the scary part.
The Niners offensive
line. Broncos have gotten some pass rush.
Oh, you're talking about the Broncos. Yeah.
No. The Niners offensive line.
Oh, Andy, it's staring us right in the face. Under 43.5. What are we doing? Monday Night Football? Come on.
Yeah.
Monday Night Football. Under 43.5, I think, is the right look.
There's a 44 out there.
Is there?
No. You know what? BetOnline, the new one, doesn't refresh fast. It's 44 there. It's 43 at Low Vig. And then
were there any other injuries in the game besides Trey Lance, or was that it?
I have to double check. I was very dialed in on Arizona. I'm going to catch up on injuries during the first half here, which we're going to start watching right now.
Okay. All right. The Monday Night Football game next week, no opinion, I'm assuming. We're seeing we get the primetime Cooper Rush versus primetime Daniel Jones. Awesome. We get Jacoby Brissett versus Mitch Trubisky. We get Jimmy G and Russ, and we get Daniel Jones and Cooper Rush.
You know what sucks? I have the computer that I watched the other football games on. I don't have a keyboard, so I'm trying to navigate to stream football without a keyboard. It's like a whole game. We'll figure it out. Honestly, that one of these keyboards in here has to work for it. So, yeah, Rush didn't look bad. That's kind of been the case. I'm pretty pissed about that teaser, but such is life. And
Southpaw Hack says Atlanta radio guys say they're staying out there. I hope you're right, Southpaw.
I'm going to confirm that. I'm going to figure out. Dan, what's the name of the radio station? What's your favorite radio station? The station by the bay. That's from
the no money line up for the Falcons now, but that's the jam.
Atlanta Sports Radio. Yeah, the money line won't be up for bet, but I could take a plus 2.5.
Oh, you know what? You know what? Bet online, fine. Bookmaker, killing it right now. They're taking 5K sides, and you can sell down to Falcons plus.
You can do a money line.
Yeah,
essentially.
Also,
you're protected against the tie.
Right.
This is going to be a really funny clip when they tie.
All right, I'm getting plus a half because that's as far as I can take it.
Yeah, I was going to say it doesn't let you go any further. I'm going to look into 92.9 The Game, Atlanta Sports Radio. Check into some of these guys, see if they know anything. Dude, I literally made DM someone from 92.9 The Game. All the sports talk interviews, game coverage, podcasts from the top personalities in sports. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
We didn't mention Rams Cardinals. Rams are -4, total 51.
I guess I skipped past that.
I got to think about that one.
If you'd have made me look at that line at halftime, I'd feel differently than I would after the game ended.
100%, yeah.
All right. Let's watch some football.
I love it. Back to that time. Good show.
Great.
Good day.
Producer Dan. Falcons are staying on the West Coast.
Falcons are staying on the